10 weeks ago, I realized something awful. I realized that the past 5 years have been a failure for me. I'd spent my days doing the wrong thing and pursuing a wrong goal. I was unfulfilled in my tasks as a journalist. I work as a finance journalist with Business AM, a weekly newspaper in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. You can say our paper is like the Financial Times of Nigeria. But over the course of my career, my articles have been focused on the wrong audience. I have been ignoring the people who need me the most. My audience have been finance regulators, CEOs of banks, listed companies, insurance firms. I had also been writing to corporate communication executives, stockbrokers, investors. These are the top elite of Nigeria's business society. They are basically men in suits. At the same time, my country is the poverty capital of the world. As a little girl, I tasted poverty in its raw form. The realization of how vulnerable our finances were as a family started when my dad, who was the firstborn of the family and the breadwinner, lost his job. I had to drop out of secondary school. I eventually gained admission into a government-owned tuition-free school, but we had to pay for books, school uniforms, provisions, and so on. It was a struggle. Luckily, I have a mother who trained each of her 5 children on efficient financial habits, even amidst very little resources. With this experience of navigating the waves of poverty and the conscious degrading economic situation of Nigeria, I have started to ask myself, what have I done to change this narrative? What is my responsibility as a financial journalist and an economist? Let's take a look at the figures. According to the World Poverty Clock, more than 10 million Nigerians over the past 3 years have fallen into extreme poverty. Breaking it down further, this means every minute, 5 Nigerians fall into extreme poverty. Top reason for this issue is due to a lack of financial awareness. Sadly, my current audience constitute 1% of the country's nearly 200 million people that have over $1,400 in their bank accounts. More than half of Nigeria's adults live in rural areas. These are places where access to formal financial institutions or banks are scarce or not existent. But there is now a new drive for better financial inclusion. Nigeria's central bank recently issued licenses for mobile telecommunication companies to start acting as mobile money agents. And like the M-Pesa mobile money revolution in Kenya, I believe this can be the start of something remarkable in Nigeria. So while improving inclusion rates in my country will make access to financial needs easier and issues around financial literacy is becoming imperative, there is a whole new audience for a financial journalist. So who should I try to reach if I wanted to make a contribution in helping people out of poverty? Nigeria's poor are not hard to find. They range from the petty trader who feels it is unsafe to save, or the cement block molder who does not know how to apply for a low-interest loan, the local farmer who grapples with production and climate change problems. Many of the challenges these people face is similar to the experience of this local hairdresser who has to juggle cleaning jobs to train her children. This is Busayo. In 2016, my husband met Busayo. She used to clean offices at his place of work. Before they met, she owned a hairdressing salon, which she had to close down because of low patronage. Busayo earns $33 every month from the cleaning job. This translates to a little over $1 every day. Busayo is challenged with feeding her 4 children, sending them to school, transportation to and from work, paying rent, and so on. So every spare time she has, which is mostly evenings of weekends, Busayo goes from home to home canvassing to make female children's hair like my little daughter, of which she charges about 50 pence each. Busayo, like many low-income earners in Nigeria, cannot afford a smartphone or complicated financial articles written in newspapers. She listens to the news, though, mostly political. She listens to them through her mobile handset or through a lamp which doubles as a radio, like the one you're seeing on the screen. This she does in the hope that some policies that will favor her current financial state will be announced or implemented. Point in case is the recent minimum wage that was passed in my country. Busayo has told me that she yearns for knowledge on how she can make the future more financially secure for her children. So what could I do to help Busayo and people like her? There are various topics that she would benefit from knowing and understanding. Topics like microfinance, loan accessibility, pension, inclusive banking, and maybe much later, investment opportunities. These are some of the topics I found would help people in reducing poverty rates in my country. These vital schemes will have to be delivered with engaging storytelling skills like I've been learning at the Reuters Institute, and also with the help of experts on the field. The task is not simple. These issues will have to be written and aired in articles that capture the immediate effects of current economic policies and how they affect individual lives. Through interviews, profiles, and tips corners, this should further steer my new category of audience on their role in accountability. For instance, to address savings and loan accessibility, interest rates is a topic that will have to be better explained. For instance, to address savings in my country, the official rate is about 4%, whereas to lend for a common man to get loans from the bank, the rate is as high as 31%. Savings for lending 31%. And Nigeria is mostly run by small and medium-scale enterprises. Understanding economics should make a change to these institutions. My audience can begin to get a clearer picture of why their demand for accountability is their ultimate responsibility. So to read Busayo and similar audience, these articles will be published in indigenous languages, namely Pidgin English, which is widely spoken in Nigeria, Hausa, and Yoruba. Is this a hitch-free idea? Of course not. As you may have guessed, the shift from writing for the elites to the rural poor and in several indigenous languages may not be as easy as expected. But during this autumn, I have realized that this is something I have to do. As a journalist, I have the responsibility. It might require learning new skills like creating an audio program that could reach radio listeners like Busayo. But I like learning new things. I also realized that during my time at Oxford. It was the first time for me to be outside my home country, Nigeria, and the entire African continent. I realized that in Oxford, one needs a bicycle to move around. And so Mira, the director of our fellowship, graciously loaned me one of her spare bikes. With the help of Philip, my Austrian co-fellow, and support from my host family, as well as loads of practice, in 3 days, I was able to ride and steer a bike in a country extremely different from what I am used to. Learning is a part of what we do best as journalists. Dexterity and persistence are also qualities that this profession has bestowed on us. Above all, my studies at the Reuters Institute in Oxford University has taught me that happiness is found in dealing with real problems. I do realize that lone reportage on financial literacy is not enough to solve the deep-rooted poverty issues in my country. But it could start discussions that will inform better policy representation. So if I have to take my newly learned bike riding skills to the nooks and crannies of my rural poor world to share the gospel of financial literacy, I believe it will pay off. So now I'm going to show you a short clip of my first ever attempt on a bicycle. This video, this video will be a reminder that trying new things can be scary. But fear is vital for activating the senses against risk and dangers. These are tools that I found are necessary for thriving as a financial journalist in Nigeria.